You need to identify that time that's just for yourself without any guilt,
Mm.
without any
Yes.
because again, women, as women, I think, and as mothers, I have two young children, we are wired to constantly have that mom's guilt.
Mm.
And you, as people who run your own businesses, you are constantly doing stuff, and
Yes.
there is this nagging guilt at the back of your
Yes.
Oh yeah.
mind. So when you do have time,
Yes.
you want to devote it to your family and
Yes.
your children.
Yes.
So that's been one lesson that I have had to learn the hard way,
Mm.
is to prioritize myself. It has
Yeah.
to be guilt free, because if there's guilt attached, no matter if you're taking a nap or doing whatever you need to do, if there is a nagging guilt, it's not going to be effective.
Mm.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Thank you for bringing this up. I think that guilt is such a it's such an invisible thing, I would say, because a lot of times we can even mistake guilt for another emotion. Sometimes we don't know we feel guilty. Sometimes it's like, oh, I feel bad, or sometimes, um, oh, but I'm just always there's this. I don't know why, but there's this always these two voices like within me that that are kind of fighting each other, or there's this just internal conflict. Not I think that you guys are actually very good at identifying your
Mm-hmm.
emotions. A lot of adults actually cannot identify. Like, oh, I don't know how I'm feeling, or and being able to identify our how we're doing, our self awareness. Is so important because a lot of mental health issues come from uh, undealt with emotions, and in your case, if there's undealt with guilt, oftentimes that, especially, if later on anything happens to your children, or, as mothers, we're like, um, you can be like, oh my gosh, that guilt is forever, you know and and because of this prioritization that you feel like, oh, I could. And this idea, I think a lot of women or people in general would always hold, I could have done better.
Mm.
I could have done better. There's always that, but in reality, no. You did the best that you could at the time that you knew, with what you knew, right, and what you could do. But there's this, but when you don't uh, uh, process those feelings and you kind of stuff them in, that's when a lot of other problems will emerge. So I'm really glad that you mentioned about, this feeling of guilt, because a lot of times with the different roles that we have, it doesn't have to be children. It could be like other aspects of your life, other responsible. Oh, I should have done more here, or
Mm.
I could have attended more here. You know, do you guys have that?
For me, I'll add it's same thing, but I'm just going to add your mindset.
Mm.
Mm.
You know, sometimes we feel guilty of things, but then how do you perceive it
Mm.
personally? Yeah. So I try to work on my mindset a lot.
Mm.
Mm, my mindset. So is maybe I'm feeling guilty of like something happened recently. I'm like, oh my God. Really, really, I felt so guilty like of what happened. 80% was my fault. I
Mm.
would have done better,
Mm.
like make a better decision. Well, like, oh my, I keep beating myself, like, oh God, maybe this is the reason why this person gave me a bad review, or maybe this was the reason the lady did not like, I kept, but at the point, I'm like, it's happened already.
Mm.
Yeah.
So whatever you cannot change,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
like, I can't change the situation anymore.
Mm.
It's happening. She had already make a decision, right? So it's just for me to like, okay, what next? I'm sorry, and let's move on.
Mm.
So I don't need to dwell on
Yeah.
that thing,
Mm.
dwell on the self regret, or self guilt. I don't need to dwell on it. I'm like, oh, I've actually apologized and we've moved on from here. So I try to create a positive mindset. It's a conscious thing for me, actually. So I feel like my mindset have a lot to do with me. Yeah.
It's always how we deal with the situation and the story we tell ourselves. We
Yeah.
can come from a place of guilt and brooding and blame, or we go into solutions. And that, again, but easier said than
Of
done.
course.
Uh, like I said, at this season of my life is when all of this wisdom seems to make sense in practicality of it. But yeah, it's always work in progress. It's not one straight line.
Yeah.
Yes,
Learning.
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I think
It's a
every
process.
step of what you guys have mentioned, whether it's being honest with yourself, it takes a lot of courage to be honest with yourself because you know that you will have to deal with the responsibilities
Yeah.
and the consequences and that you won't shrink away from it. Honesty and then uh, acceptance. That again takes so much courage. Accepting the situation, accepting who we are, accepting what has already been done. And then the next thing, like you said, both said, mindset, positivity. That is definitely something that can be learned. But in terms of courage, I think that also takes a lot of support and community, people that are going to help you as well.
I